Okay, so for this lesson, you're going to be reviewing the multiplication of fractions. So whenever we do this, if you can't cross multiply, and what that means is 2 and 3 don't have anything in common, and neither does 1 and 4. So you would just times it straight across. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 4 is 8. 3 and 8 don't have anything in common, so they can't be simplified. So that's in the simplest term. Now when you have a problem like this, and it's a whole number times a fraction, first thing you do is you take your whole number and you put it over 1. Then you just copy the rest of your fraction down. So you get 3 over 1 times 3 over 4. Again, these don't have anything in common. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 1 times 4 is 4. Now this is an improper fraction, so to reduce it, you put it in your divide box, and 4 will go into 9 2 times, and then 2 times 4 is 8. You subtract that, it leaves you with 1, and then you take the 1 and put it over the 4 as your remainder. Instead of putting the R1, you write it as a fraction. So the answer to that one would be 2 1/4. Okay, now on this one, you have a mixed number times a fraction. So the first thing you have to do is turn this mixed number into an improper fraction. So you say 2 times 3 is 6, and then you add the top number. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 makes 8. So this right here becomes your new fraction. So you have 3/8, or 8/3, let me say that right, 8/3 times 1/2. Now you can work it out the long way where you just have to keep simplifying again, but the fastest way to do multiplication of fractions is to check to see if they have a common denominator. 2 can go into 8 because it is a factor of it, so you would say 2 will go into 2 one time, and then 2 will go into 8 4 times, and that kind of eliminates some of this simplifying. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 3 times 1 is 3. Now again, this is improper, so you put it into your divide box, and you just work the problem. 3 will go into 4 one times. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 take away 3 leaves you with 1, so you write that 1 over 3. So your answer comes out to be 1 1/3. Okay, now in this problem, you've got two mixed numbers. So you do the same thing you did before. You times 3 times 3, which is 9, and then you add the 2, so that gives you 11 over 3, and then 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, so you get 11 over 5. And then you just times it out, and again you look, check, make sure there's no way to cross multiply and reduce it, and since there's not, you get 121 over 15. Then when you divide that, 15 times 8 is 120. So you subtract it, you got 1 left over. So 8 1/15. So the main thing is just, anytime that you have a mixed number, make sure you turn it into an improper, because you cannot multiply a mixed number. And then once you do that, check like I did here, just to make sure that you can't reduce. And if you can, then go ahead and reduce it. Now sometimes you might have had like 12 over 18. Those numbers cannot reduce themselves. So let me just show you right past what I'm talking about. So if I would have had 18 over 3 times 1 over 12, then whenever let me turn this around just a little bit. So it would make a little more sense maybe. So on this one, I could have cross multiplied just like I did before. The 18 and 12, they can't go into each other, but there is a number that can go into both of them, which is 6. So the greatest common factor would have been 6, so I would have said, well, get this working out. I would have said 18 divided by 6, and then I would have reduced 12 by 6. So 18 divided by 6 would have left me with 3, and 12 divided by 6 would have left me with 2. So then whenever I cross multiplied, and after I times it straight out, I would have got 3 over 6. Now 3 and 6 can be simplified because they have common denominator. 3 can divide both of them. So your answer would have equaled out to be a half. So that's basically, you can go back and review each one of these examples, and that should help you kind of refresh your memory on how to do the multiplication of fractions.